I'd like you to answer one question first. Why should my friends also use you as their wealth managers? I'll take you through two big reasons why. The first reason is our purpose, our reason for getting up every single day. And this is the reason. This is what we fight for every single day, to create families that look like this, families that are happy. So yes, the business is the business of finance, but the reason we get up every day is to create families of happy families. And we set ourselves a target. Who's heard of the term BHAG before? Quite a few of you, actually. So BHAG stands for Big, Hairy, Audacious Goal. And we set our goal as 150,000 happy families. So we figured out that families that have their finances in order are usually far happier than families that don't have their finances in order. And with that, we set out to create 150,000 happy families by the year 2025. In fact, by the 31st of December 2025. I'd like to explain why we think this is pretty important. And I'm going to start off with a premise that one happy family does not actually support just one happy family. One happy family probably supports around 10 happy families. Think about your own home. You employ a domestic worker, you support that happy family. You help create a happy family there. You go to Pick n Pay and you do shopping. People you buy from Pick n Pay then eventually employs people, and that helps support families as well. And when you add up all these families, you're actually supporting one happy family. Usually ends up supporting at least 10. So with that in mind, I think it's worthwhile taking a look at where we actually stand right now as a country. We've got 15.6 million unemployed people in this country. That's a huge number. To put that in perspective, it's greater than the population of 166 countries. It's a lot. And I guess the question is, so what? Why should we care? Why is it important to us? We feel it's important for this reason. That's our spend on social protection. The trend is heading upwards. That's not the scary bit. The scary bit is when you overlay this on our GDP. So if you overlay that figure onto our GDP over the next number of years, by 2023, we're destined to get to a social spend of about 27%. So 27% of what the entire country produces is going to be used for social protection. That's a lot. We're not economists, we don't forecast, but I asked them to work out what 150,000 happy families would add back to our GDP. And it ended up being a number of 19 billion, which is quite a big number. We feel that's worth fighting for. This is our initial start. From here, we're going to grow. I'd like to also challenge us to dream here. Can you imagine we were able to get down to 0% unemployment? So I was speaking to a Danish chap yesterday, and in Denmark, they're down at a 6% unemployment rate, which is great. Can you imagine we could get down to 0% unemployment? The additional revenue that would generate to South Africa would total 1.5 trillion rand. So to put that in perspective, the entire amount collected by SARS in 2016 was only 1 trillion rand. And if we could get everyone employed, we could get that up by another 1.5 trillion. So what could that buy? Well, it could buy private school education for every single child in this country, plus food for every single one of those children. And that would change our entire country permanently. That would be significant. So the second reason is 4 of our 7 core values. I'm not going to go through every single one of the 7, but the first was our drive to develop. And we've got 64 people within the company, 64 highly qualified people within the company. Every single Monday, we get together on something called a power hour. And on this power hour, we all huddle around a conference call, and we go through some aspect of our industry with a view to upskill ourselves and up our knowledge. Once the power hour is done, we then circulate articles. So everyone within a boardroom around the country goes through articles that they found interesting over the past week. And in so doing, we just use collective minds to up our knowledge. At the end of the power hour, we go through the number of clients we have in the green. Now, you won't know what this means just yet. Our clients would know. Not everyone would know, though. So this is how we determine whether a family is in a great situation or in a not great situation. We divide our clients up into 3 colors. Green represents a client who has a great financial situation, who will be able to retire or is in a safe retirement. And that's where we'd like to get all of our clients to. Amber, an Amber client is a client that stands a good chance of getting to a safe retirement, but we need to make one or two small changes to make sure that retirement is safe. And a client who's in the red is in a precarious situation where we need to change a fair amount in order to get them to a safe retirement. So what's our goal? Well, our goal is to get the number of green clients to 150,000. We want 150,000 clients. And this is what's happened over the past year. So last year, August, we started this. We started this drive to get to 150,000. And we had 490 of our clients with a retirement status. Of those 490 clients, 46% of those were in the green. Roll on 1 year, and this is where we are. 1,346 of our clients now have a retirement status, and of those, 52% are in the green. So on a bigger number, we now have more of our clients in the green. This is how we view things. During the month of July, we managed to get another 97 clients into the green, which meant that the way we view it is 970 clients, 970 people will be able to eat sustainably because of our efforts. Second one is treating our clients like family. I thought the best way of describing this was to give you a real life example. So I'm going to tell you the story of a couple. Let's call them Bill and Mary Dlamini. So Bill and Mary approached us about a year ago, and they had a financial advisor. They had had the same financial advisor for the past 17 years. And this chap had never had, and this was with a big company, this chap had never had the tough conversations with the client. He'd never told them they're not saving enough. He'd never told them they were spending too much. He'd never told them that they were in the wrong risk profile. All he tried to do was keep them in as a client. That's all he wanted. He just wanted to keep them as a client rather than have these tough conversations with them. He just told the clients what they wanted to hear. So when the clients approached us, this was their situation. They had 5.9 million rand. In total, they were 59 years old, and they were set to retire at age 65. The first thing we did was understand their financial situation. Where do they stand right now? And this is where they stood. At age 65, they were destined to be in the red, where their drawn capital was going to be close to 10%. So think about that for a second. Let's say you had 1 million rand and you need to spend 10% or 100,000 rand per year to live. How long will the capital last? 10 years. It's not long enough. We're all likely to live until well into our 80s. Those are the odds. In fact, probably into our 90s on average. So we knew they were in trouble. We then put together a budget to figure out where we could improve their spending, optimize their spending. We then constructed a portfolio, and this portfolio was designed to get them towards the outcome they needed to get to. Once we'd done that, we implemented, and we took a look at what the situation looked like. This is where it looked 1 year ago. So to explain this chart, this is the income they require on a monthly basis, and you can see that as inflation goes up, so does their income requirements. The red area is what they're likely to achieve. And what is evident is that at age 70, that was likely to taper off significantly. What can you read into that? Their standard of living was going to go heavily backwards at age 70. I guarantee they'll be alive at age 70. So 1 year on, this is how it looks. We've now got them up to age 80 before their standard of living starts going backwards. They are still not in a green situation. They are still not in a great retirement situation, but they're far better than what they were before we addressed them. I think over the next 5 years, we'll probably end up getting them into a great situation, but it's going to take that long. It's not a quick fix. It's more of a 5-day game. If you go to Toyota, what kind of car are you going to be sold? Probably a Toyota. So which products, which companies are you going to force me into? And our answer is very simple. We really don't care. We don't mind who we use as long as they get you to the outcome that you want to get to. Last year, I also introduced our clients to the innovation that we're developing. And I introduced you to the retirement plan. The retirement plan is what I showed you with Bill and Mary Dlamini, where we understand what your current situation is. We put together a budget. We then make some assumptions. We look at what your cash flows look like over a number of years. So from now up until long past you needing the money. In other words, up until the time that we're expected to hop the mortal coil. And from there, we're able to get a good idea of your analysis, of your income, as well as your capital. From there, we can start planning and making real decisions to change your outcome. I also introduced you to the concept of a consolidated report. Does anyone enjoy receiving tons and tons of paper in the post from various insurance companies? It's terrible. And yet they keep on sending it. So last year, we made the decision to invest into a system to consolidate information from a variety of different companies and put it together in one report. So that you receive a page where you understand your entire consolidated situation on one piece of paper. Everyone so far is loving it. What I'm going to introduce you to now is what we're going to be working on over the course of the next few months. And this is our online retirement planner. The idea behind this entire tool is to empower you, to put you in control of your own situation, where together with your wealth manager, you can make decisions, you can understand what the impact of slightly different decisions will be on your overall retirement plan, and we hope to get a better outcome for the majority of our clients.
Meet Robert Gaston. He is a mechanical engineer who has worked at SAB for the past 10 years. Rob is a family man. He's married and has 2 lovely daughters. His one daughter is finishing up high school, and the other is studying law at UCT. When Rob isn't working, he spends his time playing golf and makes an effort to take the whole family to the coast at least once a year. He recently celebrated his 50th birthday and has since sought GCI's expertise for his retirement plan. Rob has always been conscious of planning for retirement, but recently has decided to focus more on ensuring he has a comfortable retirement planned for him and his family. This is where GCI's new online retirement planner comes in. After contacting one of GCI's wealth managers, Rob's existing information easily gets imported into our system. From there, he receives an email invitation asking him to create a profile. To ensure we keep his data safe, Rob is required to enter a one-time PIN sent to his phone. If at any point Rob gets stuck, or his one-time PIN is being sent to his old phone number, he is easily able to contact his wealth manager. After checking all his personal details are correctly imported, he can now start with setting up his retirement plan. Rob starts building his retirement plan when he enters his preferred retirement age. Next, Rob helps us understand what his current monthly income after tax is, as well as what his monthly expenses are. We are then able to suggest what income Rob might need at retirement. Rob reduces his monthly retirement income because by then he will no longer be paying high education fees and his bond will be paid off. With our guidance, Rob is now in control of customizing his own retirement plan and can add all his investments. From here, the graph has started to take on shape as Rob's retirement plan is becoming more complete. He can also see what his shortfall will be in reaching his expected retirement income. Lastly, Rob establishes his risk tolerance by answering a few questions. All Rob's retirement information is processed, and he is provided with an overview of his retirement plan and the likelihood of him retiring safely. Not only does Rob now have an overview of his retirement situation, but he can optimize his plan with our expert guidance. He is able to make changes to his retirement plan, increasing the likelihood of retiring in comfort. By assisting Rob in planning accurately for retirement, we have helped create another happy family.
The number one question we get asked is, how long will my money last? I say to something with a gentleman just now, and he's working on the ski principle. Spend, kids, inheritance. And his question is, how much money can I spend? So we think this tool is going to change all that, because what it didn't allude to is the fact that all of your information will automatically be pulled into the system. You won't have to capture it. It'll then be updated every single month. So if there's a shock in the markets, you'll know what impact that's had on your retirement. If you invest another 500 Rand a month, you'll know what impact that has on your retirement. If you retire 1 year later, 1 year earlier, you can test various scenarios. If this is interesting to you, then go to the website and just register for the system. It's not live yet, but it will soon be live. And by registering, you're going to be the first to know exactly when it goes live, and we're going to be choosing a few of our clients to work with us to test the system and make sure it really is of super value to you. Know your retirement status. If you do not know your retirement status, treat that as a sin. Why? Because you may be a person who becomes dependent on the state, who becomes dependent on other people. So know your retirement status, whether you are retired or are not yet retired. The second thing, if you aren't in the green, then work with your wealth manager to get into the green. It's not going to happen overnight. If you're not in the green, it won't happen overnight, but it is possible. If you are in the green, plan on how you're going to stay there. Don't spend too much kids' inheritance. And the third thing is, if you know people who don't know their retirement status, get them to find out. Get them to have a conversation with us. So when you ask a person, do you know your retirement status? They won't even know what you're talking about. Ask them, are you in the green? They still won't know what you're talking about. Then ask them this question. Do you know exactly how much money you will have to spend per month at retirement to be safe? Or if they're in retirement, ask them, do you know exactly how long your capital will last? The majority of people do not. And when they answer no to those questions, just ask them to speak to one of us. So in closing, I'm going to end off with a story where one of our wealth managers asked me, he said, Alex, this is great, but what makes you happy? What turns you on? What really gets your juices going? And when I was presenting to Joshua, that's my son Joshua, and just before Joshua fell asleep, then he said, Daddy, are we in the green? So he understood that concept. And I said, Josh, we're in the green. And he said, have we ever been another color? And I said, no, our family has never been another color. Throughout my childhood, we were in a very different color, but you have never been in a different color. And the same joy I got from telling Joshua that we'd never been in a different color, I get every single time that one of our clients goes from one color into another color. And every single time I sit in front of a client and I see that they're in the green. And then it's just a case of how safe is their green? How much safer can we get them? So that's what gives me true joy.